This is a video from Crowdsource the Truth 7. It looks like he's on his 7th channel. I don't know if he's getting, I don't know what the deal is here, but he definitely should have more subscribers than 2.18 thousand. This right here is the guy. I can't remember what is his name. Does anybody remember what Crowdsource the Truth's name is? I want to give him credit. This is Crowdsource the Truth. He's on Subscribestar on Patreon, but he's the one who asked Alan Dershowitz, about that. And Alan Dershowitz says, yeah, actually, the state is well within its rights. If when they declare a public emergency, if you deny the vacationator, the VAXX, then they can come to your house, pull you out, take you to a government-funded medical facility, and force that thing into your bloodstream. Of course, the state can do that. And this is the guy that questioned him on that. And it's like, wait a second, what about our rights? What about our rights? Yeah, his name, is it Jason Goodman? It's Jason something. There you go, sliding into it. Thanks, Jason Goodman. Thanks, Back Shamil. All right, I wanted to show you this. Back Shamil passed this along to me, and he's in New York City, and he's doing street interviews, and he just happened to interview a guy who's from my neck of the woods down in Oklahoma City. Listen to what this guy, you would think the guy from Oklahoma City standing in the streets of New York would go, because he's going to ask him about the gun-free zone in Times Square, because I guess they just made it a gun-free zone. I thought Times Square had been a gun-free zone, but apparently, is it Hochul or Hochul? Hochul and Adams are destroying the Constitution one inalienable right at a time. Listen to this interview right here. It's very eye-opening, depressing.
Excuse me, sir. Can I speak to you for a second? Yeah. Are you from New York?
No.
Where are you from?
From Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Oh man.
Yeah.
That was not long ago. Well, it's been a while, but they blew up that building.
Yeah,
that was terrible.
Federal building.
Do you feel safer today now that Times Square is a gun-free zone?
Yeah, I do. The last time I was here was in 2001.
A guy from Oklahoma City. Look at Jason Goodman's face. That's a classic face right there. It's what you talking about, Willis? What you talking about, Willis? Do you feel safer now that Times Square is a gun-free zone? Absolutely, I do. But Jason Goodman's going to ask some common sense questions. Well, when a politician makes a law, who usually ends up obeying those laws? Oh, that's right. It's the law abider. But the law abider now loses his advantage, his edge, and his power in that gun-free criminal empowerment, victim creation, fish in a barrel zone. But the people who gain the power are the criminals who don't obey laws. So the only guns that are going to be in Times Square are guns possessed by criminals or the police force. But then I repeat myself, because if you look at the Mullen Commission, the criminals are the police force as well. Listen to this. Unbelievable, this guy. It's a shame. It's embarrassing.
Actually. And but it was here for work. But
prior to
yeah, I mean, some ways, everything. We went to the Mets game last night, and it was just, it's great.
So do you exercise the First Amendment in Oklahoma? I'm sorry, the Second Amendment.
I've got guns, but I mean, we bird hunted when I was young, but I mean, I don't carry one or anything.
And the answer to that question is, do you exercise your rights to keep and bear arms which shall not be infringed? Answer is no. Okay, so what happens to the physical body, for example, when you don't exercise? Oh, that's right. You lose muscle mass, you atrophy, you get weaker, your joints get weaker, your bones become more frail and brittle. But when you start applying resistance training, something miraculous happens, because this is just how life is, how it's ordered. Your bones become stronger. They become more dense. Your muscles become more strong, more flexible. They fill with blood. The fibers tear, and then they, when you eat and you rest, when you get nutrition and you get rest, those muscle fibers get stronger. So liken that with exercising your rights. What happens when you stop exercising your rights? You lose them. So this guy admits, no, I don't take advantage of the American dream of, you know what the American dream really is? The American dream is, hey, I'm a man. I'm not above anybody. Nobody's above me. I have unalienable rights that are going to be protected by the people who said that they're going to protect and serve. And so now I'm going to exercise my rights so that I don't lose them, because we know one of the surest ways to lose your rights is to not apply them and exercise them in daily life. This is truly embarrassing and eye-opening.
Anything like that. There's a lot that do, you know.
Do you feel like you might want to protect your safety if you lived in New York City and crime is rising?
I just haven't seen crime. I mean, you know, we just...
How long have you been here?
Just 2 or 3 days, 3.
Give it another day or two.
Really?
I'm surprised you haven't.
Well, I mean, it was like we were going to Queens last night, you know, to the Meds on the 7, and it was like, even in the remote areas, taking the local back where it looks pretty dark, and you know, there were 2, 3 police.
Yeah, Coach Iron Pete says in the room, I'm glad to be disarmed. What an idiot. Yeah, I know I have the unalienable right to keep and bear arms, but I'm just going to trust the police force, who never arrives on time to stop the crime. They never arrive on time to stop the crime. Why would you put yourself in that position when you could have exercised your option to exercise your right and empower yourself, if not for your own sake, for the sake of your loved ones, your wife, your children? This guy probably has grandchildren. What is wrong with you?
Officers, you know, there on the platforms, and it was like, gosh, this feels pretty safe, even in the dark areas.
Trust the officers. Just trust the officers. It's like we live in a nation of children. All these adults have this child mentality of, somebody else is going to take care of us, right? Somebody else is going to take the reins of power and tell me what to do. Somebody else is going to keep me safe. They'll arrive in time to keep us from getting shot in that mall that we're in.
So,
what about the fact that criminals don't care about new laws and they'll still carry guns?
they will. That's what they say in Oklahoma.
Aren't we really just preventing law-abiding
Yeah.
citizens from exercising the Second Amendment in
Yeah,
Times Square?
I mean, you know, conceal and carry in Oklahoma City, and even in Dallas. I lived there 22 years.
Hey, they love shooting people in Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Yeah, they love their guns. You know.
So let me
Guess what else that they love? They love law enforcement who, when they hear about a shooting, especially in Uvalde, they'll go into a school and let the shooter keep shooting children while they're out there playing with the hand sanitizer, scrolling around on their phone, goofing off for 57 minutes while shots still ring out. And you're going to sit there and say, well, I trust law enforcement. I trust that they're going to keep us safe and I don't have to exercise my rights.
ask you this. What do you think about this plan to pay back college loans?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a shit show going on right now. Yeah.
Did you have college loans or kids with college
well,
loans?
it's funny because when you think back on No Child Left Behind.
Darkado says, my best friends are Smith and Wesson. And this guy wants to be a victim, says Frosty. Yeah, guys, when you have the option, and I've forgotten mine many times. Don't get me, I'm not Mr. Perfect and keeping my firearm or whatever. You know, sometimes you get in the car and it's like, oh, it's already in the car. And then you reach in the back seat and it's like, oh gosh, I left it on my desk or wherever. So I can be more cognizant of that too. But the bottom line is, you have an option. One of the things that should be foremost on your mind is there's nobody going to keep me safe. Nobody's coming to help me out. Be like that 22-year-old in that mall where he took matters into his own hands, and in 15 seconds, I think the guy who was the assailant got off like 23, 27 rounds or something like that. In 15 seconds, from 40 yards away with a handgun, he took out the shooter after the shooter was taken. No cops on the scene. No cops could possibly have gotten there that fast. And so he takes out the shooter, and his medical professional wife started tending to those who had gotten hurt in the process. That's the free market. That's what you want to do. That's the example that you want to follow. Taking a shooter out with a long rifle with a handgun 40 yards away in 15 seconds. Bravo. That's the that's carving out a slice of the American pie. And how much coverage did you see on fake stream media dealing with that guy? You saw a little bit, but it was a blip and it was gone. It was gone. Had that been something else like, That's one of those things that mainstream media should have mentioned for weeks and weeks, and they should still be mentioning it. It's, hey, guys, here's the solution. 15 seconds, 40 yards, handgun versus long rifle. There it is. You want to keep safe? Don't wait for the government. Don't wait for policies. Don't let March Against Our Rights, little David HOGG, march in the streets so that they can take away more firearms. Don't wait for Tulsi Gabbard and Democrats and some of the Republicans say, hey, we're going to make AR-15s and AK-47s illegal. Take it upon yourself to do yourself a favor, exercise your option, keep and bear arms so that you can be empowered and perhaps position yourself to take care of somebody like that. That's the answer. But mainstream media is not going to herald that. What are they going to herald? They want you disarmed. They want you disempowered. They don't want you to be that 20-something-year-old in that mall taking out that shooter. Even though that's clearly the answer and the solution to the problems that we've seen.
And under Bush, well, that's when all the colleges said, well, now we can charge anything we want because they can get a loan. So ironically, it's gone up over the last 20 years so much, you know, that going back, I went to Oklahoma State University 81 through 85, and I just can't believe what tuition and housing and everything is now.
And you know why tuition is so expensive? Because governments have gotten involved. Not only has tuition gotten more expensive, but the quality of the education has dramatically diminished. And that's to be expected. When government gets involved, quality goes down and prices go up. And then they arrive to save the day and offer something like a student loan forgiveness, which is really a lender. It's a lender bailout. The lenders were not getting paid back. So the government goes, oh, we'll step in and we'll pay you back. It's not so much that they were doing the student a favor. They're doing the lenders a favor. But then what's that going to do to your taxes? That student who got debt relief of $10,000 or $20,000 for the Pell Grant, they're going to be paying for that, and you're going to be paying for that for the rest of your life, and it's going to far exceed $20,000 per person.
And you know they're tax exempt, right? Harvard has something like a $40 billion endowment. Why don't they make the colleges pay back the loans?
Yeah, that's, I mean, look at University of Texas. I mean, they're probably one of the richest universities.
So really, I just wanted to highlight what he was saying about firearms and how pathetic it is that Americans, even in my neck of the woods, you would think, wow, Oklahomans, yeah, you guys are all for guns. Texas, you guys are all for guns. But there's a lot of people out there with this kind of dangerous mentality. And that's why I call these people right here far more dangerous than any politician, because this mentality right here infiltrates and infects the minds of the masses who could be on your side, but they're not. They don't want to see you walking down the street with a firearm ready and willing to protect yourself and his ass. They don't want to see that. They want to wait for law enforcement. They want a government-funded police force to come and save the day when they know in the back of their minds they never will. When seconds, those precious seconds count, those cops are at least minutes away. Sometimes they don't even show up. And then when they show up, they just stand around and let the shooter keep on shooting.